The winds that come through to change society, which is Pluto and Aquarius, is about to be really different. When Saturn moves into Aries on May 25th, the winds that offer us the premonition of the change before it happens is going to be up here. Aries rules our head, it rules our mind, it rules how we think. And with Saturn moving into Aries, and Saturn is one of the rulers of Aquarius, your mind, put it like this. You ever thought about somebody and then they text you? I feel like in spiritual communities, that's kind of a common occurrence. If you have gifts, you have premonition stuff going on, right? Okay. If you have those thoughts, Saturn in Aries, while Pluto is in Aquarius, which it's going to be for like another 20 years. Okay, so we've got time. Those thoughts sometimes, and discerning when it is true and when it is just you. Because the winds of the spirits and the winds of the primordial being, while we are also a spirit, is different than us just thinking about stuff. So learning to discern between those two is an important skill for this. And also, those thoughts are the recognition of, oh, this is the exchanges that could be coming up with Pluto and Aquarius. These are the things that are changing with Pluto and Aquarius. This is what I need to be paying attention to. Could be that you think about somebody and then you text them or they text you or you run into them. It could be that you're thinking about something really strange and you're like, why the heck am I thinking about this? And then something maybe later that day or a little bit soon after that, because Aries is like pretty quick timing and the processing of Saturn in Aries is consistent, and it has to be consistent because the spark only lasts for a while, and that's Aries. So it's like you get the spark of an idea, the spark of something comes through, and then eventually there's a fire that's related to it a couple hours later, a couple minutes later, a day or two later. Crazy. So that's going to turn into a more mental place. And because of Neptune being in Aries right now, so if you're saying this before May 25th and or later in the year, and like before we get to Saturn stationing all the way in Aries come 2026, where it's not going to retrograde back into Pisces, any crossover where Neptune would be in Aries and Saturn is in Pisces, like it is right now, before May 25th, we get the premonition in the mind, like I was talking about, and it might happen later on, and at the same time, it's through a spiritual lens. So it's like in the spirit of things rather than only being in the mind of things. Neptune in Aries throws a little bit of a curveball with this, with the way that Saturn is related to Neptune, because Saturn's in Pisces right now. And the curveball being that it has like a really, really big association with our spiritual gifts and mentally how we practice that. That's a wild thing. There's so many different directions you could go in with it. And that's what I mean. It's a curveball. Everyone has a different mental gift of some kind. And usually the way that I would teach people in my sessions is that those mental gifts are usually because some things can be communicated between you and me, but usually those mental gifts are going to be between you and the spirits, because the mental gifts, if you're able to train them and access them and understand them, are going to be the gifts that keep you the most protected. Keep it secret, keep it sacred. That's a good line for what I sit in a lot of the time. So start to tune in. What's going on upstairs here, and how does it relate to the premonitions becoming truth in your reality? Because that's a different experience for everybody too. Pluto and Aquarius ruled by Saturn and Aries. And then when we get Uranus in Gemini, okay, yeah, that's going to be discernment on when, where, why, how words are being shared. That's going to be crazy, because it's like, how not everything that you say in your head should be said out loud. It's like that through the lens of, because sometimes if you think it in your mind, it might not be aligned with like the big changes that are coming through. But if you speak it and you share it with the air when Uranus is in Gemini and Saturn is in Aries and that crossover is happening, then the words that you share, they move with the air. They start the spirals of Pluto and Aquarius air. The Gemini sharing air starts the spirals of the Pluto and Aquarius air. Okay. And that's because Uranus is going to be in Gemini. So it's a real big discernment of, why is this person sharing this with me? Why do I feel inclined to share this with this other person? It could be right words at the right place at the right time sort of stuff. And then there's another thing that happens that's related to those words. Exchanges of words are going to be vitally important. Have a mental agreement with yourself while Saturn is in Aries and Uranus is in Gemini for protection of, if you receive something through words from someone and you don't actually agree with it, rebuke it, get rid of it. I don't want that. I don't agree with that. And I'm not allowed to have the exchange with this person because they've told me this thing. That's a good protection tool while that crossover of Saturn and Aries and Uranus and Gemini is happening. Anyways, though, people are going to have a lot to say, and in a very different way when Uranus enters Gemini. That's a whole different transit. We can talk about that another time, but lots going on with the premonition energy with Pluto and Aquarius. And Saturn moving into Aries means your head is a lot of things unsaid that are going to be coming into the world out here. So get in tune with how your head says things and it aligns with what's out here. Unsaid, well led. Yeah. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew. I will too. And I'll talk to you soon. Also true.